Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. And yes, there was a lot of politics when I was in leadership, so watch out for this video. Right, so as some of you guys know, I did a video a few months back about titles and position in churches. So I'm going to go in a little bit more detail. In my old church, the particular position that I was in, it is the type of position that is the best. So it's the best achievement. So in a job, if you're a manager, you're CEO, whatever, this one is like equivalent to be like a maybe head of department or something. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to use it in that example. It means that you have achieved one of the best roles. The only reason why I say head of department, because obviously there is pastor and bishop. The pastor will be the director, and then the bishop will be like the CEO or something like that. A lot of mistakes that we do is that we equated like spiritualism to the position. So if you were in that position, it's like you felt that you were more spiritual, or you've achieved something, that you've gained some, hey, you know, something. It's quite scary, and obviously I can't speak for all, but this was kind of the impression that was given. What happens is that when I got consecrated, because that's the term that's used, I was on the altar, then you get anointed with oil, and then you get consecrated to be that position. So it's very Old Testament based in the way that it's done, if you want to kind of put it into more biblical context. And you know, with your uniform, everything is like consecrated. It was really nice because, like I said, I got raised with my friends, and it was quite fun that we all got raised together, because I think there was a big batch of us that all got raised at the same time, and it was great. It was a really nice feeling, overwhelming. When I first was doing the position, everything felt like amazing, because you have the first love, it's nice, you've just got it, you're still in that kind of happy mode. I was blessed enough to be under a good leadership, I would say. I'm sorry, someone's messaging me, so a little bit distracted. Then after that, I think it begins to sink in, and then you do begin to see, okay, the reality of things. You begin to see how demanding it is. You have to be there all the time. You have to go to certain meetings, these position meetings, not just in your branch but also in headquarters. And then you, on top of that, you also have to go to the services in the weekday. And to be honest, I was very used to going to the services in the weekday. It can be a lot if you're going to church at least 4 to 5 times a week on average, and then on top you've got meetings which might be after the service or before the service. They will try to like accommodate that. There would be time wise with that at times. There were times that meetings would be just completely out of the normal average days that you go to church. It could be on an odd day, odd time, it could be unexpected, it could be, you could be told last minute, you name it, but hey ho. And then of course obviously going to the meetings in the headquarters like once a month and stuff. So it was quite a lot. You know, I'm here now, I'm not coming out. I've put so much effort, so much years, so much time to get to where I am. So why am I just going to come out? And I feel like one of the things that really kept me was my intentions. So my intentions was to always help and support people. And the way it was done is that if you were in a particular position, then obviously you are able to help further. You're able to pray for people, you're able to counsel people, you're able to do things that if you were a member you were limited to do. And that's one of the reasons why I did it, because I felt like it was a great access, more flexibility in order for me to reach out to people, in order for me to help people more. So that's the reason why I went for it, and I feel like that's the reason why I stayed that long, because I just enjoyed helping people, and I still do to this day. And I believe it was the same reason for many who are still there or who have left. We can definitely share that same goal. Then, to be honest guys, the politics started to like arise. Like, you started to see things or notice things that you don't want to notice, or you don't want to be exposed for. You don't want to. Sometimes we would get threats. So threats in the sense that, okay, if you're not like this, if you're not doing this, so your name will be written in a black book. And at the time when you're being told your name will be written in the black book, it feels like, well, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm doing my part, so my name's not going to be written in the black book. But then when you question things, it's like, okay, your name will be written in the black book. What does that mean? You know? So it was just like little threats, like, because you're so used to hearing that kind of language, it didn't really mean anything. It's like you accept it. You're kind of used to that type of language that is sent out to you. Sometimes things like, oh, you know, you don't have to be here. If you don't want to be here, you can always leave. You can always give up your uniform. You know, you can always just leave it and leave. But then, of course, no one would leave, if that makes sense. No one would really leave. But it was just like these kind of little threats that started to kind of creep up. So I started to kind of see, oh, this is a little bit
political.
So I feel like there was some kind of division at times amongst us in the same position. So what will happen is that usually, I think there would be one that was usually favoritized. So it depends on who you're under, but the one who's favoritized maybe be more active than the others who's in that position, maybe a bit more available as well and has more time. Sometimes there was this kind of comparison game at times, like, look at so and so, they do this, they do that, what are you doing, sort of thing. It's like kind of competitions in a sense. Like, so we were given like targets maybe to bring people to the church. So if everyone's given 5 or 6 targets, I'm just using that as an example, and you would need to do everything you can to kind of reach that target, because you don't want to look like the one who didn't reach the target, right? You don't want to be the one, like, you know, who failed or who didn't manage to bring that certain amount of people. And when you kind of deep it, it's kind of like business in a sense that you are kind of competing to make as much money as you can, competing to bring as many people to the church. And I guess maybe the intention was right in their eyes in terms of it's a good way to bring people to the church, but then I feel like at the end of the day it did feel very, everyone's in a kind of competition. I remember there'll be days, and the day that you need to bring this 5 people to an event that's happening, everyone will be kind of asking each other, oh, how many people have you got? How many people have you got? And it's like, I've got 3, I've got 4, I've got 2, I've got this, I've got that. And like, if you've got none, or all your people have flocked you and all your people have said that they can't make it, you don't want to be having those conversations with your peers, or you don't even want to be turning up to the event or having a meeting. Every single one of you would be asked, how many people did you bring? How many people did you bring? How many people did you bring? And then imagine for everybody, you have to be like, oh yeah, I brought 0 people. Intensity to it as well. And I witnessed that. There were times that I brought 0, there was times I brought 2, there was times I brought 3 people, there was, you know, it was mix up, but it was just a bit like, oh, come on. And you know, whoever brought maybe the most people or exceeded the target, it's like they were kind of more glorified in a sense, or it was more like, oh, you see, they managed to do it, so if they managed to do it, why can't you do it, sort of thing. And it's just guys, sense of perfectionism. And I think maybe I'm still trying to move on from this, because you were in this position, there can't be anything wrong with you, or you can't be going through normal human being problems or normal human being issues, so you would appear perfect. So give this impression to everybody that you're okay, that there's nothing wrong, etc., because you don't want people to look at you in a certain way. And also, if there was something wrong, you kind of maybe sometimes are embarrassed to maybe let your pastor at the time know, or sometimes some of your peers know, that you are going through this type of issue, because you thought you would be judged, or you thought that you would lose your position, or you think that you're not worthy. So there was this kind of thing as well. Thank God I don't think I really experienced that too much personally, but I know others who did, and I get why, in the fear that you might lose your position. That doesn't necessarily always happen. I'm not saying that if people open up, or if individuals said that, they necessarily lost their position. What I am saying is that there was that fear to maybe open up or go a bit deep and say, oh, this is what I'm going through, in fear that that would be the result because of the environment that you were in and your life. It's like, it feels like you have signed a contract and your life doesn't belong to you really anymore. So your work, your family, social life, just everything, like everything kind of evolves around the church and the position that you're in. So everything has to fit into that, if that makes sense. So like, I know that I was very, very busy. There'll be times that with work, maybe I'll be sleeping at work because I was just so busy and so exhausted due to the responsibilities I was doing. So I wasn't getting enough sleep. Things like, if I had things to do, I would always kind of evolve it around my church. Maybe I felt at the time it's like, I'm prioritizing Jesus, I'm prioritizing God, he comes first. But I think the mistake maybe that I was doing is that I think I was prioritizing the church and the position that I was in. Where I was going before, what happens is that they tend to switch around pastors, bishops, whatever. So depending on which pastor you have, which bishop you have, of course, everyone has different personalities, characteristics. Every single one of them were different, in good, in the negative, in the positive, in the bad, you name it. So depending on who you're under, that plays a huge part in how leadership is run. And I guess that's with everything, in organization, in anywhere, if you have your own business, in how you run your own business, transfers, and in everything. But in the sense, sometimes if we were under a really strict pastor, it wasn't that easy. I remember there was times that we had to register. So in the weekday we had to make sure that we evangelized, and we had to register. So we had to put our names down so that the pastor who was in charge at the time was able to kind of check who has been doing their part or who is making the effort to evangelize. Stressful times, guys, I can't lie. But I don't know, I think really and truly, shouldn't you just want and have that will to evangelize and to go out there and to reach out to people and let people know about the Lord Jesus Christ, rather than being told that you have to do it? And if you were under a strict pastor, if there was a meeting, you will make sure you go into the meeting. You will not miss the meeting, no matter what excuse, no matter if you've got a family thing, or if you're meant to meet up with some friends, whatever, you name it, you know you're going to prioritize that meeting, because if you miss the meeting, there will be consequences. There will be consequences. Me, and I'm sure a lot, would rather avoid those consequences and just show up to the meeting. But then if you are under a more lenient pastor, that nice transparency, and let them know that you can't make it to the meeting, but I guess a reason would always have to be given. And I don't know, at times I didn't necessarily feel comfortable to always give the reason, because maybe some of the reasons in it wouldn't maybe appear good enough in their eyes, but who knows. But yeah, if you were under a more lenient pastor, there was definitely like flexibility to just let them know that you can't make it or something. Because the position I was doing, you basically work very closely with the pastor or the bishop. I feel like what I liked about it is like you felt like you had more access to them. It was this impression that we are here, or I am here to look after you. I'm looking after you guys first. I kind of like that in the sense that, okay, like I had easy access. I needed to pray for something or going through a struggle, a little battle or whatever. It felt like there was a bit more of an easier access. A better bond and a better relationship was kind of formed, and you kind of got to know them better as well, which I liked. That was kind of the advantage. And you know, at times being told that we're praying for you, we're here for you, we're available to you, like that kind of nice support. Because I feel like as a member, even though they're there, they're here to support, but those in that same position, we also filled in that gap to support the members. Unless if you were like a particular type of member, it's like, pastor, hey, nice to meet you, blah blah blah, and you're always conversing with the pastor, always making that effort, and vice versa, then you form a relationship. But I feel like when you're in that particular position, it's much easier. Felt quite nice in the sense that, okay, there is someone who may care about me. I feel like there was a lot of pressure. If you are in church maybe 5 times a week, 4 times a week, then you go to additional meetings. Not only are you doing this position, but you might also be in leadership of other groups as well. Then also trying to just balance your normal life, like working full-time, trying to have a social life, doing normal things like gym, self-care, nails, hair, you name it. Certain things will have to be sacrificed. Of course, maybe balancing and stay in touch with your family, or if you live with your family, spend more quality time with them. So it was a lot of things. I felt like it wasn't balanced in a sense. Not for me anyway. I'm an extrovert, so I like going out, I like to be with people, I like to do my thing. I don't know how I managed to like balance it all, but I think I was kind of a living zombie like every single day. I had friends outside my old church. I had friends from all different paths of life, all different journeys, all different seasons. Yeah, man, I don't know how I did it, but I guess I came to realize that's not life. Funny enough, guys, you know, despite everything, despite kind of you giving you guys the ins and out and how it was really like, I really enjoyed it because my goal and my intentions was to help people. I really didn't mind being treated in a certain way or spoken to in a certain way. I just enjoyed the politics as well. I try my best to ignore, as they would say, clean heart, clean mind, clean eyes, but I may not be perceived as that anymore because I've released this video. So God has used me to help so many people during that season, during that time, during that 3.5 years. God has taught me so many things about myself and what the real meaning of serving is. You know, at the end of the day, Jesus came to serve. He came to serve. He washed the feet of others. There was a lot of things that I really learned along the way, though there was a lot of politics, a lot of negative, a lot of imbalance and competition and things that you wouldn't want to happen. Despite that, I was working with some incredible individuals. I was working with some incredible women and men of God, and I learned so many things from them. It was very eventful experience, but I will stop there, guys. I hope you like, I hope you comment, I hope you subscribe. Don't forget to support a sister. Until next time, guys.